Hey guys, Clef here. The good people at HandheldDIY reached out to ask if I was interested in testing one of their Hall effect sticks for the Lenovo Legion Go. And you might be thinking, why? The Lenovo Legion Go already has Hall effect sticks. And that is indeed the case. However, that doesn't mean that every sticks are made equal, number one. And number two, there's something specific about the sticks from HandheldDIY, which is that they have higher tension. So basically you need to apply more force, more pressure for the sticks to move. And I believe to be a very interesting upgrade for the Lenovo Legion Go, and I'll get why on this video. But before we do that, let's have a quick accelerated portion where I do the installation on the right controller. So to tell you a little bit about installing the HandheldDIY Legion Go Hall effect sticks, it definitely was a more complicated process than I originally expected. That is why I would strongly recommend that you watch a friend of the channel, OKS Gamer's tutorial, if you're looking to install it step by step. And yeah, I only did the right side. I don't know if I'm going to do the left side. I would expect the left one to be much easier because you have less components to deal with and go through. But as far as the right side goes, there was a few layers that you would have to get past before even getting to the sticks. And by then, you know, you have a lot of small little ribbon cables that you're going to have to reinstall and everything. And yeah, it's just not the hardest I've seen, but definitely not for the faint of heart. Definitely not for beginners. It does take a little bit of extra time, extra patience. You know, I actually did this entire process without looking at a tutorial, which I would strongly recommend against, because there's a lot of different small layers that you have to go through. So if you can have someone guide you through the process or even give you like a little bit of an expectation to have, I would strongly recommend doing that. I like to go through it, you know, just to understand what people have to go through. I feel like it gives me better information to really convey the kind of difficulty that you should expect, but I would strongly recommend against doing that. And so let's carry on with the video. Now back to the sticks themselves. So here, for example, the gray one comes from the ones that by default are in the Legion Go, whereas the white one is the one that was provided from HandheldDIY. Why would you want to have increased tension? And when talking about Hall effect, because it is a sensor that is extremely precise, there's a lot of overcorrecting that is done on the algorithm of the sticks. That's why whenever you play something that requires a lot of camera work or FPSs, and especially when looking at the sticks of the Legion Go, I would say that the algorithm, in my opinion, is definitely not the worst. I've seen way worse, but I find it's a tad too aggressive. Now, of course, you can adjust the curve to try to address that, but it's not so much the curve of the stick itself, rather it is the overcorrecting that the sticks will do, because otherwise the sensor would be too janky and it would move left and right. Yeah, I mean, as much as it's serviceable, when playing on the go, I feel like I have to rely on something like gyro or maybe even the trackpad in some situations. And I'm not trying to eliminate those solutions altogether, but I definitely am interested in having the ability to rely more on my sticks. And that's where I believe the solution from HandheldDIY to be very interesting. So when it comes to performance, resolution, just the overall circle error, in my findings, it's been pretty much identical. However, the fact that you're able to have smaller movements in your sticks, I do find helps you to mitigate the algorithm trying to overcorrect for the small sensor vibrations that we don't see, but that does exist. So let me show you what I mean. If I turn my sticks and I go fast, you see how the line is not a full circle? But see what happens when I try to push it slowly towards the direction. I'm pushing the line further. So the overcorrection is being addressed at a smaller percentage, and I should be able to do that in pretty much all four corners. You see how I pushed the yellow line, and I'm gonna do the same thing here. And this is after calibrating, mind you. I mean, yeah, these are, it's a fairly aggressive correction that we have here. Anyways, and this is where I find that it makes a noticeable difference. What I did prior to making the change, I did 4 rounds in aim labs. Those are the scores I got. The first one had a little bit of an adjustment curve, you know, I'm jumping from one controller to the next all the time. On the second one, got better. Third and fourth, pretty consistent overall. And then I did the installation, and then I jumped on aim labs again, and tested the stick for the first time, and immediately I completely shattered the previous scores that I had. Now, and same goes with the ones after. Now, I'm not trying to say you're guaranteed to see better results. There is an adjustment curve, and depending on how that you are to sticks that have a bit more tension, it's possible that you will have to break a certain habit that you're used to. You also may not like the idea of having one that is standard, regular, like what the Legion Go comes with, and then having the right side that is tighter. That depends on you. Whether you change both or just the right side, I do expect after a certain amount of time that you're gonna be able to better hit precise movements, just because you have to deal with something that will keep you in check a little more, which is kind of ironic because it is the exact opposite that you want when talking about a mouse. You want something that is lighter. But by the time you're done doing that, I do expect for most people, to not say all, to see a benefit with these types of sticks. And I couldn't stress this enough. This is when looking at the Hall effect that you find in the Legion Go. So I'm not trying to say every all effect under the sun would benefit from that. But these ones, personally, in my opinion, from the testings I've done, it was automatically a win. It just improved my gaming experience whenever it's going to be a game where there's a lot of camera work, whenever it's a game where there's a lot of shooting. So an FPS game, for sure, I already know with 30 minutes of testing that I will have a better experience with the sticks from HandheldDIY. Now, the last question would be, would I recommend it? Well, that depends, because the amount of effort that is required to change those sticks are pretty substantial, and it's also not something I would expect everyone to be comfortable with. But as long as you're comfortable with going through that process, really there's no reason not to. However, is it so substantial that you will go from being a Call of Duty noob to being like a Call of Duty master? No, I mean, it's not all that good. But we spend stupid amounts on mouse, keyboards, on monitors to try to push us a little bit more over the edge. If your gaming happens mainly on a handheld and you'd like to give yourself the best tools to push yourself over the edge, I, without a doubt, do believe that those sticks will assist you in making that a reality for yourself. And so that is it, guys. That summarizes my experience with the HandheldDIY Lenovo Legion Go Hall effect sticks. I like having a little extra tension. I think they are a great purchase, especially if that makes sense for the games that you play. If you're playing mainly indie games and you mostly only use the left stick, no, don't buy that. That's not really the goal. Anyways, guys, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.